It was a free trial, so I tapped it and canceled right away, but the cancel confirmation screen flashed by so fast it left me uneasy. A month later, my card alert popped up saying subscription payment completed. I just stared at it like, wait, I canceled this already. In settings, it even said canceled, which somehow made it more confusing. Then I noticed tiny text listing an access end date and a next charge date. I found the cancellation email and almost relaxed for a second. But one line said it only stops auto-renew, not immediate access or billing timing. I reopened the screenshot I saved on the day I canceled. Bottom right, next to 43, it showed the end date, meaning I canceled renewal, not the current cycle. First, I checked whether the charge was still pending or actually posted. Now I screenshot the next billing date and set a reminder the day before any trial ends. That's all for today's story. We'll be back every day with a new one. If you want to catch tomorrow's story too, please like and subscribe. I canceled the free trial and even saved a screenshot just in case. Next day, the same amount got charged again, but under a totally different name. On the statement, only the merchant name looked new. The date and amount matched every month. No location, just a vague digital service category, so it felt extra off. The subscription page still showed canceled, which made it even more confusing. But in the receipt history, the billing name had quietly changed from the old one. So I called support and we pulled up the transaction details together. The approval ID ended in 43, same as last month, so it was the same charge with a new label. Turns out, when the payment processor descriptor changes, the billing name can change too. And canceling often stops the next cycle, not the charge that was already in the pipeline. Now, when an alert pops up, I tap into the transaction details first. Compare the merchant ID and approval record, then clean up saved payment methods in your subscription settings. That's all for today's story. We'll be back every day with a new one. If you want to catch tomorrow's story too, please like and subscribe. Late at night, I tapped pay in the app, but the receipt screen never showed up. Then a card approval alert popped first and my stomach dropped. I opened my transaction history right away, and there was no order record at all. But the limit looked reduced, so it felt like money was stuck somewhere. The card app still showed an approval entry, but the status looked weird. It said pending authorization, and I mistook it for a refund. So I started a support chat, and they asked one question. Has it been captured yet? That single word changed everything. A few hours later, the pending label vanished and my limit came back. The approval code ending in 43 just made me panic for no reason. Lesson learned, if there is no receipt, the payment might not be finalized. When you only get approval, check capture status first, then wait a day. That's all for today's story. We'll be back every day with a new one. If you want to catch tomorrow's story too, please like and subscribe. Late at night, I paid once on an overseas site, nothing weird to check out. Then my transaction list showed the same amount twice, side by side, and my stomach dropped. I opened the approval log to compare the two entries instead of panic canceling. One line had an auth number like 43 and a pending hold label, not a completed charge. In the receipt email, the wording wasn't paid at all when I read it carefully. It said temporary deposit authorization, the kind that looks like a charge until it clears. I followed the customer support guidance and asked what the duplicate line meant. They said overseas merchants often place a hold first, then capture the real payment later. 2 days later, I checked again, and the pending line quietly disappeared on its own. Only one final charge remained, and my available balance snapped back like nothing happened. Now when I see a double, I don't rush to cancel or repay right away. First, I check for a hold or deposit wording in the log and email, then contact support if it stays. That's all for today's story. We'll be back every day with a new one. If you want to catch tomorrow's story too, please like and subscribe. Monday evening, I was actually excited because my order was supposed to arrive today. Then on my way home, a notification popped up saying it was delivered. I got home and checked my door first, but there was nothing there. I even looked at my transaction history and approval record, and I almost hit refund. It still felt off, so I tapped into the detail tracking page one more time. That is where I noticed a tiny line showing a separate pickup location. The problem was I kept checking only my door, but the location was near the shared entrance. When I zoomed in on the proof photo, the background was clearly a gray locker door. I went down to the lobby and matched the locker label with the notice, and one compartment opened right away. My package was inside, and it was simply placed in a safer spot. After that day, I check things myself before following any customer-center guidance. If it says delivered, look at the pickup location in the photo first, just do that one thing. That's all for today's story. We'll be back every day with a new one. If you want to catch tomorrow's story too, please like and subscribe. On my way home, a refund completed alert popped up like it was done. I opened my bank app, and the balance was exactly the same, which felt weird. I went into the transaction history and checked the approval record from that day. Right next to the refund line, there was a tiny wallet tag I had totally missed. So I followed the customer service guidance and sent them a quick screenshot. They replied calmly, "Please also check the points tab in your account." I opened the points screen and the number had jumped up without any warning. That was the refund, but it came back as points, not cash in my account. In the terms, it said mixed payments with coupons or points can refund this way. One habit now: when you request a refund, check the refund method line once. That's all for today's story. We'll be back every day with a new one. If you want to catch tomorrow's story too, please like and subscribe. I paid 120,000 won at 1942 for a second-hand deal, then the seller suddenly asked me to switch bank accounts. If you ignore that, you can lose money or get blamed, so I checked my transfer history first. I opened my transfer history on my phone and tapped the latest approval record right away. The approval record clearly showed 1942, 2027 won, and completed to the original account. Then I reopened my chat screenshot and at 1939 it said, "Send it to this account with the first account." But at 1944, they dropped a new account and told me to cancel the first one and send again. It felt off, so I searched the customer support guide and the terms, and section 722 warned about account change requests. So I sent the chat capture plus the approval record and said I would stop the deal because the account changed. But right after that, they backtracked, and at 2003, I filed a return request through the customer support guidance. Once the case note said account change request confirmed, the refund step moved much faster. Cause was the sudden account switch, and the fix was using screenshots and approval records to follow the return process. One quick habit: take one chat screenshot before paying, and if the account changes, stop immediately. That's all for today's story. We'll be back every day with a new one. If you want to catch tomorrow's story too, please like and subscribe. At 12,008 during lunch, I rushed 120,000 won transfer, and only after sending I saw the name was off by one letter, so I opened the transaction log immediately. In the transaction details, the status said completed and the memo read January dues. But the recipient label showed a name I did not recognize, just one letter different, and it felt really off. So I went back to the recipient selection screen and checked my recent transfers. There were 2 starred favorites and their names differed by just one letter right next to each other. In settings, I opened favorites management to confirm what was saved. The help text said favorites are prioritized for autofill, and that is exactly why I tapped the first suggestion in a rush. Bottom line, the cause was favorites autofill, and I followed the help desk guide to check cancellation options and clean up my favorites. Right now, open your favorites and remove any lookalike names first. That's all for today's story. We'll be back every day with a new one. If you want to catch tomorrow's story too, please like and subscribe. Yesterday at 21:18, I copied an account number to send money for a second-hand deal. But when I pasted it, the last 4 digits were different. So I checked my transaction record first, and the approval history showed 01. It meant I had not transferred anything yet, so stopping was safe. Still, it felt off, so I tested copy and paste 3 times. Every time the same wrong number appeared, and I knew it was my phone, not a typo. So I went into settings and searched for clipboard options. The auto-paste feature was on, and a suggested text bar showed a suspicious number string. In the end, the cause was auto-paste and suggested input working together, and turning them off made the pasted number match again. Do this today. Before sending money, always recheck the last 4 digits. That's all for today's story. We'll be back every day with a new one. If you want to catch tomorrow's story too, please like and subscribe. I tried to pay 720,200 won at a convenience store, saw a failure message, and tapped 4 times. If you ignore it, you can end up with duplicate approvals and real money leaving. So I opened my transaction history right there at the counter. In my alerts, I saw 2 real approvals for 720,200 won, not just a 01 authorization check. So I asked for the receipt and compared the approval numbers. If the approval numbers are different, those are truly separate charges, not just a display glitch. Here's why it shows failure. The terminal can lose its network response or timeout. While you're retrying, a delayed approval can still finalize in the background. So I followed customer support guidance and canceled the extra one. Done. The cause was a failure message plus a delayed approval, and the tip is to wait 1 minute and check your approval history before retrying. That's all for today's story. We'll be back every day with a new one. If you want to catch tomorrow's story too, please like and subscribe. Last night at 9:18 p.m. I paid on an overseas site, and a pop-up asked to pay in my home currency, so I tapped it. Then the approval alert came in about 12,001 higher than I expected, and it felt off, so I opened my transaction history and tapped the single approval record line. It showed a separate applied exchange rate, plus a tiny note like includes conversion fee. When I checked again, the checkout had another option to pay in the local currency. What I tapped was a home currency conversion at the register, which can stack extra fees on top. So I went to the Help Center guidance page and opened the terms section, and there was one line. It basically said if you choose home currency payment overseas, the merchant exchange rate may apply. Bottom line, that home currency pop-up can cost more because it uses a merchant exchange rate. So next time I chose local currency and checked the applied rate in the approval record. Do the same, pick local currency on the pop-up, then tap the applied exchange rate line in your transaction history. That's all for today's story. We'll be back every day with a new one. If you want to catch tomorrow's story too, please like and subscribe. Here's the weird thing, my recurring payment looks 1 day early every month on the approval alert. When it pops up at $23,508, you can mistake it for an extra charge, so I checked my transaction history right away. In my transaction history, I tapped the 9901 recurring charge and opened the approval record. The details showed approved 1/31/23/577, but posted 2/11, so the dates were already split on the screen. So I also checked the subscription management page, and it still said next billing date 2/1. That mismatch made sense only if the card grabs approval the night before, then settles on the actual day. Next, I searched the Help Center for approval record and found a short policy note. It said if the billing date is a non-business day, approval may run on the previous business day, and posting can follow later. Then I looked at a calendar. 2 May 1 was a Sunday, so the previous business day was 1/31. That exactly matched the 23/5/757 approval time, while the posted date stayed on 2P1 in the history. Bottom line, business day processing pulled the approval earlier, and I fixed the confusion by checking the posted date, not just the approved date. Quick tip, if the next billing date is a weekend or holiday, set a reminder to verify your limit and the posted date the day before. That's all for today's story. We'll be back every day with a new one. If you want to catch tomorrow's story too, please like and subscribe. Paid, but no order can happen in the split second when the payment window closes. One refresh in order history helps prevent losses. It says payment complete, the window closes, and the order list is empty. Screenshot the receipt, 14,000 plus, the 6-digit approval code. Check your card or bank app approval entry and match 29,801 with the same time. If it matches, you paid, but the order didn't register, switch the order filter to all and pull to refresh twice. If creating order shows within 30 seconds, it's a processing delay. Also, check SMS or email. If a receipt arrives within 10 minutes, it has a transaction number. Receipt with no order number confirms the gap. Approval can succeed while the order creates signal drops. Send the receipt screenshot to request cancel or manual handling. Tip, wait 5 seconds before closing. That's all for today's story. We'll be back every day with a new one. If you want to catch tomorrow's story too, please like and subscribe. If you see 4,001 charges at 3:12 a.m., check right away. Small tests can grow into big charges. Filter your transaction list to the 3 AML hour and see if the merchant line repeats. Verify. Screenshot it for proof. Open the charge details and look for a status like authorization pending. That usually points to a card validity test. Check the connected payment methods list for an unknown device token. If something was added at 0318, remove it immediately. Freeze the card and enable the online payment lock. When the screen shows freeze complete, new charges should stop. Cause was leaked card data being used for tiny authorization tests. Freeze, reissue, and set alerts from 1/1. That's all for today's story. We'll be back every day with a new one. If you want to catch tomorrow's story too, please like and subscribe. If your card shows an unknown merchant at 0318, it could be the payment processor name. Before you dispute it, save one screenshot of the approval screen. I tap the 901 transaction and open the details page. If you see an item like online intermediary under merchant info, that is a clue. Then I search my receipt message and match the time 0318 and the amount. If the 6-digit order number matches too, it is very likely your own purchase. If it still feels off, call the merchant number shown in the details. In a 2-minute call, they confirm the statement shows the processor name is the descriptor. Finally, I turned on real-time payment alerts and set the small amount threshold to 1/1. Next time an odd name appears, you can verify it immediately. The cause was simple. The approval descriptor showed the processor name, not the store, and I confirmed it by matching details with a receipt. If you suspect fraud, save 2 screenshots within 10 minutes and keep alerts on. That's all for today's story. We'll be back every day with a new one. If you want to catch tomorrow's story too, please like and subscribe.